Hey, welcome back to Total Coverage Sports. Here talking Texas and the fourth straight win in SEC play. This one over the Vanderbilt Commodores. Again, not an easy game. They like to draw us out, get all four quarters worth of viewership. And I say that slightly in just some weird and interesting calls down the stretch in this one. Any of which, if maybe they go Texas's way, you're not sweating quite as hard in the end. But at the end of the day, it is a W. Texas finds a way to hang on against Vanderbilt. Let me know in the chat what you thought about the game. Did you expect to win? Did you not expect that? Did you think we are about to blow it? What did you think of Archer's performance? What did you think of the defense? Let me know your thoughts. I already got Mr. Milan in here letting us know. Great win, beat a really good Vandy team. Thanks for playing great at the right time. Defense has back end injuries, but overall they played really well. Arch was cooking, and so was that O line. Pretty spot on from you, my friend. We'll start with the very first thing. Vanderbilt is a good team, and you got to shout out to them for fighting in that fourth quarter, not just falling down and just getting out of there. They played until the very very end. And another thing, we just had our score winner for the week drop in. I did message you back, Jerron. Go check that out. If you've messaged me in the last few minutes, that's on me. I'll get to it after the show. But yeah, Vandy, I mean, they fought hard. Diego had a really good game. I think they're numbers wise. So you know what I mean? Texas made him work really, really hard to get those numbers. Did a really good job early in that game of affecting Diego. Obviously, he had the early fumble on the sack, forced fumble and the fumble recovery from Colin Simmons. Defense came to play early on. They didn't make life easy on Vanderbilt. I kind of said on Inside Texas throughout the week, I thought Vandy would move the ball okay between the 30s, and that's kind of what they did early in this game. And then obviously, the second half, they did it as well, mostly in the fourth quarter. But Texas stood up there and forced a couple of field goal attempts, in that first half that I thought were really, really big. And so, shout out to the Tiger a field goal attempt early on, and then, you know, just overall team effort. It wasn't perfect on the defensive side. Again, I think the secondary is quite not as solid as it was a year ago. Texas lost some hell of a players from that secondary. Just look at what they're doing in the NFL so far early on. So shout out to Jade and to Makuba, and not easily replaced, but still we have a lot of talent back there, man. And so they're gonna hopefully continue to progress. Need Jelani to be okay. Obviously, saw Phil Sami go down. That's we have pretty good depth of safety, but man, it's being tested out right now between Taft. Obviously, Derek Williams coming back from an ACL injury or from an injury last year. Then the two injuries we've had, today, but you did see Phil Sami back in the game. And so that was good to see. I definitely was when 17 was running around, even though it was on a Vanderbilt touchdown play, I was like, okay, at least the guys got back on the football field. So playing great at the right time. I mean, it's hard to say we're not, and it's not that we haven't put a four quarter game together yet, really. Even in Oklahoma, you can't sit there and say that's a 4 quarter game because of the way that the offense performed early on. So maybe our best football is yet to be played. I honestly didn't think this was an offense that could really turn a corner. But when you put them in the best opportunity to succeed, look what happens. You know, we saw more spread attack today. You know what I mean? Obviously everyone kind of knows at this point AJ Milwee has been moved into the booth and has had a hand in play calling. That's been super good for this offense. It looks like there's a little more belief from everybody in this offense, just the way that people are moving around and interacting. A lot more confidence going on. Obviously, saw today 10 targets for Emmett Mosley. Huge. Thought it was really important that we solidify him as a wide receiver one, the best route runner on the team, may have the best hands on the team, and seems to be always open. So you saw 10 targets there. I don't believe anybody else had more than 4, but you saw Arch disperse the ball around pretty evenly around the team. And so credit to the offensive coaches. I've been pretty hard on them between Sark, Kyle Flood, AJ Milwee. I've kind of been on them. And so shout out to those guys. They found a game plan. But real quick, this week's score winner, we haven't had a score winner in multiple weeks, is Jerron Stevens. Not only does he win a $100 gift card to University Co-op, he also just won 2 tickets to Texas, Arkansas on the, I believe, 22nd of this month. So Mr. Stevens hopefully will be in the building. Hopefully he can make it to that. And again, I'll message with you and get with you for details on that. Congrats. Again, man, first score winner we've had in like over a month. So credit to that guy. He nailed it. Okay, I'll be honest. I didn't see that high scoring of a game playing out. But again, he did. Credit to John. So, or if it's Jaron. If I'm saying your name wrong, forgive me, brother. But the first series on O&D might have been the loudest that Clint's ever heard at a game. I was not there. I'm going to take his word for it. He's a little bit younger. And I'm glad to hear it, man. Texas hasn't had a home game in over 6 weeks. I thought it was really, really cool and important for that defense to feed off the energy of that crowd. And so you could tell early on, crowd, in my opinion, was making a bit of a difference. Vandy is a very penalty-laden team. You saw that take place today. There's a lot of penalties on their side early in this game, kind of helped putting them behind the chains. And then Texas' pass rush, really good job on the defensive part, and a really good job, obviously, for the people showing up for an early kickoff at DKR. You could tell they're hungry for some Texas football, man. Cole at left guard, hey, something we talked about early in the year. Um, Credit to the staff for going ahead and continuing to tinker with this O line and put people again, put them in a spot. Maybe they're just a little bit better than what we had there. And so, was there enough difference between Connor Stroh and Brooks' play at left guard compared to what Cole offers? And maybe if there's just a slight fall off from Cole at center to Sawyer Robertson, or if they're even neutral at all, then yeah, you have to try that out. Obviously, they're comfortable enough to get out there and put it into gameplay, and so the O line looked a lot better. Pass protection looked better. I thought I like the front, especially the front four that Vandy has. Not a bad front seven, but the front four I think is underrated. And so credit to those guys. I mean, honestly, did a really, really good job. So credit to Kyle Flood. I've been pretty hard on the guy, but I mean, the group is seeming to get a little bit better here. Okay, they struggled with pass protection last week until Mississippi State kind of calmed down with the pressure there in the fourth quarter. But hey, big performance from those guys today. Maybe they continue to take a step up, because if they do, this offense, I mean, obviously will continue overall to get better. So we didn't necessarily run the ball out of this world or anything. I think it was like 27 attempts for 100 yards. I don't have the box score in front of me, but somewhere around those numbers. And so, hey, Weiser ran for just over 4 a clip, I think. Cedric about 3 yards. So again, not world beaters there. Not going to set any records for Texas in particular, but doing enough to take some of the load off of Arch Manning, off of this wide receiver core, off of AJ Milwee, off of Sarkis, who are scheming and play calling this thing up. Just keep the clock going, keep moving the chains, just doing enough to help out there. So, pardon me, credit to those guys for finding something. Again, the run game is not going to be what we hang our hat on this year, in my opinion. But can they continue to grow and work on that and find things down the line? Absolutely. Absolutely. So credit to everybody on the offensive side of the ball. I thought the plan was great. You came out and spread personnel. You're whipping it around. Obviously saw the Wingo screen early on go for a house call. Starting like that, that's huge in this game, because it gets one immediately. We talked about last week the defense maybe believing a little bit more in the offense, and then they showed a little bit more life late in that game against Mississippi State. More life and more juice, in my opinion, in the fourth quarter of that game than they did in the first 2.5, 3 quarters of that game. So I think that was a huge moment, man. Credit to Wingo. Hopefully, he's okay. It looks like, in my opinion, like a dislocated finger of some sort. Hopefully he's able to, after the bye week, get back out there and continue to improve and make plays for this team, because its offense needs him, needs his athletic ability. It needs his speed. Obviously, he's a big-time weapon. And so when you see Emmett Mosley's numbers go up, I mean, that goes hand in hand a little with Ryan Wingo go down. So I think, you might not have seen 10 total targets for Mosley, but I do think he can need to continue to assert him as the number one overall receiver for this team. Loudest moment ever at DKR. Yeah, Emmett does have beautiful feet, man. He really does know how to tightrope. No really wasted steps. They might not be the most explosive on every step. It seems like he's jogging or half-assing, but I really think there's a purpose for every step that he takes. Clint says the offense as a whole today was night and day different from what we have seen this season. Great O-line play. Arch played outstanding. The biggest thing you noticed was a reduced amount of offensive flags. That's a big thing, man. When you're not going to be a perfect running team, when you struggle sometimes in the passing department just to throw and catch the simple stuff, the easy plays, the bunnies, man, you can't shoot yourself in the foot with offensive penalties. You can't be as bad as we've been in that department. And so, yeah, playing at home, obviously that's going to help a little bit. You know what I mean? But also, you can't take anything away from them. They've improved there. Hopefully they continue to do so. You'll probably still get, your standard occasional pre-snap penalties as far as false starts, because we've kind of always done that in the Flood era. But hey, maybe these guys break the trend and we go a clean game eventually without one. We do have 2 out of 3 going forward at DKR. But talk about Arch, man. This is a guy coming off a concussion, a guy that did not take any single reps this week until Friday. A guy who definitely at some point spent some time in a green room, just trying to get his head, trying to get over this concussion, get through concussion protocol, and be able to be out there on the field, and to go out there and execute the game plan the way that he did. I mean, I know some throws he wasn't asked to do a crazy amount, but some throws he's not been asked to do a crazy amount throughout this year that we really haven't executed on. So shout out to Arch again. I think outside of the Kentucky game, that's probably five out of the last 6 games. I've been overall really pleased with Arch's performance. Even in the Florida game, Sam Houston State, obviously. But again, you get the SEC play, played well against Oklahoma, not great against Kentucky, played really well against Mississippi State, especially in the second half. And then you saw what he did today. Both quarterbacks balled out again. They really did today, Diego and Arch both. But going forward, what does this mean for Texas? Do I think that it's a lock that we go win the next 3 games? Absolutely not. Do I think it's a lock that we lose all 3? No. I think all 3 games are winnable, obviously. I think all 3 games are losable. You know what I mean? Unless this offensive line shows consistent play like this, that makes me feel a lot better against that Arkansas team, because that Arkansas run defense is Swiss cheeks, and the Arkansas defense in general is kind of Swiss cheeks. And so with our defense, that game, I feel better about Arkansas, obviously more so than I do the other 2, because I mean the other 2 games are going to be a hell of a task. Going to Georgia and winning on the road. I know Florida, I think the last I checked was up 10-7 on Georgia right now. So it's definitely a winnable game for Texas. I mean, Texas may be favored in that game. A&M is a winnable game for Texas as well. Almost said very, and Aggies would have come for me. That's still a game, you got to feel a little bit better at about what you saw today, as far as like guaranteeing victory. Georgia A&M can't do that, but they feel a little bit less losable than they did, a couple days ago, because you saw some improvement from that O-line. You saw growth again from Arch Manning against a better opponent. And so people continue to knock him and say, okay, well, it was just Mississippi State, or okay, it was Sam Houston State, or okay, it was Oklahoma. Well, who cares about Florida? We lost. Arch is showing signs of being consistently solid, man. And if he has consistent O-line play to match that, we started to see Mosley, kind of emerge as the number 1. Wingo's role more defined, assuming he's healthy. Offense has more upside than I might have given it credit for a few weeks ago. So shout out to Sark and the guys for continuing to work, continuing to battle. Definitely, it's going to be tough. I mean, Georgia's going to be hard. Arkansas won't be easy. A&M's going to be tough too. I agreed. A&M is really good. They're going to be pretty rested. They get Samford before us. That offense is really dang tough. They can run it in a variety of ways. They can throw it. Marcel's a much better pocket passer. The defense isn't quite caught up with the offense. So we'll see. Could be a high-scoring game if this offense of Texas continues to improve, but we'll take our chances for sure being at DKR. So, yeah. But, well, yeah, what does it mean? I mean, everything's still on the table. Same conversation we had last week. It's still technically right there. You have to go one game at a time. But all of a sudden, you're talking about you win an absolute war with Georgia. It's going to be a fight between the Hedges and Athens. You find a way to win that game, and all of a sudden, man, you're looking at Texas just take care of Arkansas. And even if you lose an A&M game, I mean, I'm not making an excuse. I'm just saying Texas could split Georgia and A&M and could go 9-3 and be in the conversation for college football playoffs. Now, do I think that necessarily gets us in? Not unless there's a lot of chaos in front of us. But all of a sudden, man, a lot of people were dancing on our graves. A lot of people sleeping on, the finish to this Texas season, kind of wrote us off, left us for dead, whatever you want to use. Hey, but Texas all of a sudden is back in it. They control their own destiny still somewhat as far as making the college football playoffs. Obviously, 10-2 is going to get you in, but there's still a ton of work to be done. You still need to see improvement from March. You still need to see, AJ Milwee and Sark scheming things up the way that they have been. Maybe it is more spread. Georgia looks very beatable in the secondary, very beatable. And with Texas having a bye week, obviously getting healthy is probably the biggest priority. Going into Athens full strength, going at these last 3 games with our full arsenal of players, full cast of characters, like that's got to be the first priority. But assuming that we are, I mean, Texas isn't going to be no easy out, baby. And so it's fun to feel a little bit better about this team. Definitely, like I said last week, going to stay grounded because it's 1 week at a time. It's going to be nice to kick back next weekend, watch some college ball with nothing on the line, nothing at stake. And so, I can't wait for it, man. I hope y'all enjoy the rest of your Saturday. I'm not going to keep anybody too long. Georgia will be fun. Joshy, thank you for hopping in here, my man. It's going to be a blast. Overall, proud of the guys. The fourth quarter, some of the calls, Not going to get into all of that. Texas had a few too many backups in at times in that fourth quarter on defense. I will say that. But yeah, you look at Sark these last couple of weeks, maybe that report that, maybe Sark didn't really put out. Maybe it wasn't a leak from Sark's camp. Maybe it was just somebody um, speaking out that shouldn't have been speaking out. Sark's looked a lot more pissed off and, again, passionate, energetic since that's happened. This is a team that you can't sleep on yet, man. There's still a lot of talent, obviously, roaming around. He's got a lot of young guys getting reps and growing on both sides of the ball. Finding not necessarily an identity on offense, because I still think we're going to be a team that just needs to sling it around. And I guess if that's an identity you want to have, then so be it. It's not going to be something you want to have as far as year in and year out. But hey, for the 2025 iteration of Texas football, man, that's the best bet moving forward. Continue to sling that thing around. Take care of the short game concepts. It'll open up some of the deep game stuff. Maybe, just maybe, teams come out of this 3-high safety look that, they trot out so often. But when Texas can hit that intermediate stuff against that 3-high look, the way that Arch did today, and you're able to run the ball for 100, 125, might be begging for $150, but maybe we get it. Maybe we get it. Maybe we get it with Georgia. You have a lot of time to prepare for that. Georgia does not have a bye week next week. So, hey, we'll see what Texas looks like. I feel pretty good about the trend line of the program right now. Get everybody healthy. I'll feel a little bit better, but we'll wait and see to hear about some of these injuries. In the meantime, guys, go enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Yeah, it is exciting, man. It really is. Should be excited. It's fun to sit here and watch Oklahoma, Tennessee tonight, knowing, hey, if Oklahoma loses, all of a sudden they've got 3 losses, and they were talking a little bit of lip, even after we whipped them in the Cotton Bowl, about having a better record and how how life was so sweet and whatnot. But hey, Texas already took care of one leg of this November quartet, if you will, and not an easy. I'm not going to call it a gauntlet. I'm not giving A&M or Arkansas or Vandy even that much respect, but I will tell you this: one leg down, one at a time. But it is doable. All right, long way to go, but it is doable. Let these boys cook. Let these coaches grow. I probably have that backwards. Let the coaches cook. Let the players grow. And it's going to be all right. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for spending a little bit of time with me. If you're watching, throw a like on the video. If you're watching on Twitter, throw a retweet on it. If you haven't subscribed to the Total Cover Sports channel, please do so. We'll have more action on the channel tomorrow night. We'll have Emily doing her Big Ten recap. Let's root for chaos. That's good for Texas football right now. We got to be rooting for chaos, and go Vols tonight. We'll root for that as well. Y'all have a good Saturday. Go eat some good food. Enjoy some family time, friendship, whatever you got going on.